I find myself in quite a tangled emotional web, living with my significant other for well over a decade now. We've been together for 12 years, sharing joys and overcoming trials, including the trials inherent in long-distance relationships. We began our journey together at a young age, jumping into the complexities of adulthood side by side. Over the years, we've witnessed the roller coaster of life, with its peaks of happiness and valleys of despair. My significant other, aged 29, has really struggled in recent times with various mental health challenges, wrestling with feelings that he didn't fully understand. Thankfully, there's been noticeable progress in his journey towards healing. Still, the road has often been bumpy. At one point during our long-distance phase, we found ourselves living in different countries, which added another layer of complexity to our relationship. While he was away, he formed strong friendships with two individuals who were his confidants during that challenging time. They bonded deeply over mutual experiences and shared battles against their mental health demons, finding solace in one another's company. When he returned from overseas, we decided to share a home together. Little did I know that our engagement would someday coincide with plans for a long engagement, a stretch of over 2 years as we both dedicated ourselves to our academic pursuits. During this period, we transformed from a young, turbulent couple to adults who learned how to navigate their relationship with greater maturity. It felt as though we were finally in a good place, stability blossoming amidst our previous tumult. However, just 3 years ago, the dynamics of our lives shifted dramatically when one of his close friends relocated and decided to stay for a 2-year spell. Initially, our friendship trio thrived. Yet, everything changed when my significant other crossed a line, engaging in an affair with her just before she prepared to leave the country. This betrayal wasn't just physical, it also cut deep on an emotional level. The painful reality of this infidelity came crashing down on me when I stumbled upon undeniable evidence while snooping through his belongings. It felt like my heart had been ripped from my chest, and an overwhelming wave of devastation engulfed me. In the wake of this revelation, I made the difficult decision to sever ties with her immediately, urging my significant other to distance himself from her as well. Our trust had been fundamentally shaken, teetering on the brink of a breakup. The 2 months that followed were grueling. My world felt isolated, as I lacked access to therapy while being far from home. Friends rallied around me during this tumultuous time, providing a sense of emotional refuge that I desperately needed. After deep soul-searching and quite a bit of introspection, we tentatively began to rekindle our relationship. Though the journey of regaining trust was slow and fraught with obstacles, we took it one delicate step at a time. Gradually, we learned to forgive and heal, navigating through the pain together. 2 years have now passed since that challenging moment, and overall, life has been much more harmonious between us, filled with renewed commitment. However, not all has been smooth sailing. A mutual friend of ours has taken this separation quite personally, responding with a passive-aggressive attitude towards my significant other, seemingly furious that he no longer reaches out to her. This ongoing tension lingers, a constant reminder of the fracture that almost tore us apart. And now, in the current moment, I find myself anxiously waiting for a package that holds remnants of that past, the past where my significant other shared fleeting moments with this friend. The air is heavy with uncertainty as I try to wrap my mind around it all, the tangled emotions swirling within me like a storm. As I sit and contemplate our journey, memories wash over me, reminding me how far we've come and the hurdles we've overcome. The laughter we've shared, the tears we've shed, the times we held each other tightly during the darkest nights. Yet, the specter of betrayal still looms. It's a delicate balance of love and caution that fills our space. There's a hope that, with time, we can fully move forward together without the shadows of the past haunting us. As I await this package, a piece of the past that's bound to stir up emotions, I can't help but ponder what it might mean for us. Will it bring closure, or will it reopen wounds that we thought had healed? The uncertainty ripples through my thoughts, keeping me on high alert as I navigate my feelings, worries, and the fragile threads of trust that hold our relationship together. he chose a different path. Instead of engaging with his former friend, who had caused him distress, he made a conscious decision to distance himself from her completely. It had been 2 whole weeks since a mutual acquaintance had shared news that she wished to send over a package with items that belonged to him. He was insistent that she had nothing of his, primarily because their time together had never included cohabiting or sharing a space. Their friendship had been characterized by their separate lives, frequently spent in varied locations. This lack of physical shared belongings only added to his discomfort regarding the package. Although I maintained a sense of indifference toward her, I could not shake the feeling of anxiety that loomed over him like a dark cloud. It was as if the mere thought of her sending something was enough to trigger a cascade of memories and feelings he wished to leave behind. He held staunchly to the belief that receiving any item from her would be a reminder of a chapter he had painfully closed. If the package were to arrive while I was at home, I had made up my mind to dispose of it without hesitation. My desire to shield him from unnecessary stress fueled my resolve. Despite knowing I didn't have to take on the role of guardian in this situation, the notion of watching him endure any anxiety was unbearable. He was already navigating through conflicting emotions, and I longed to offer him support in any way I could. I doubted that the contents of the package would be incriminating or damaging, but there was an underlying fear that it would merely serve to reignite the flames of her existence in his mind. In contemplating the friend he had once valued, it seemed cutting ties was the most prudent decision. I intended to bring this up with him, although he was ambivalent about what to do next. The uncertainty over the arrival of the package loomed over us like an impending storm, and I leaned toward the course of simply discarding it without even glimpsing its contents. I resolved not to engage with memories that did not serve us any longer. Ultimately, the power to decide would rest with him. If it did arrive, I would provide him the autonomy to either throw it away or sort through it alongside me. As time flowed on and November approached, the long-awaited package finally arrived at our doorstep. I felt an unusual mix of anticipation and dread. When it was delivered, it seemed to embody everything we had hoped to avoid, an unsought connection to a past that held no warmth. After taking a moment to breathe and reflect, we reached an agreement that neither of us desired anything that came from her. Consequently, he composed a message to our mutual acquaintance stating simply, "Please let her know that we don't want anything," and in an act of finality, he blocked her from his life entirely. With that chapter firmly closed, life carried us along its current. He embraced a new job opportunity that filled him with a renewed sense of purpose and joy, and I too found fulfillment in my own work, which allowed me to explore personal endeavors. The happiness radiating from us was palpable, and it felt as if we were moving into a brighter phase of our lives. This past summer held one of the highlights of our journey together, our wedding, which was a true reflection of who we are as individuals and as a couple. The celebration was alive with laughter and joy, surrounded by friends and family who had supported us through thick and thin. The atmosphere buzzed with energy, vibrant colors adorned every corner of the venue, and melodies of heartfelt songs filled the air, wrapping around us like a cherished embrace. It was a day that truly encapsulated the essence of our union, lively, festive, and filled with love. Looking back, the struggles had led us to this beautiful culmination, reinforcing the bond that connected us. The hurdles we overcame became stepping stones to our bliss, reminding me that with dedication and support, even the heaviest burdens can be lightened. Together, we faced our fears and emerged stronger, ready to embrace our future with open hearts and open minds. It was certainly a steep price, yet it didn't bother us much. This month, my significant other was away attending a conference, which meant I was home alone, navigating the somewhat tranquil yet eerily quiet environment. One evening, as I was lounging on the couch with a book in hand, I stumbled upon another package addressed to him, the sender's name catching my eye. It was from a place associated with an old friend from his past. At first, 100 thoughts rushed through my mind. I briefly contemplated the possibility that this mysterious package could be from her, but deep down, I questioned whether she would even reach out after all this time. It seemed unlikely. Later that night, on a video call, I decided to bring it up. "Hey, I got a package with your name on it," I stated casually, trying to read his expression. He looked puzzled. "I don't recognize the sender," he replied, a hint of concern crossing his face. I hesitated for a moment but then suggested, "How about we open it together right now?" There was a slight pause before he agreed, his curiosity piqued. Once we unsealed the box, the contents revealed a handful of postcards, each one adorned with cheerful wishes for happy birthdays and Merry Christmases. To my amusement, none of them were signed, and as I rifled through them, I couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. But the laughter quickly faded as I unearthed an unexpected addition, a young adult romance novel nestled among the cards. I let out a burst of laughter, the irony hitting me hard. It felt almost comical. My spouse, however, wore a frown that deepened as he looked at the book. "I really don't want that type of thing in our home," he said, the unease evident in his voice. The next few days were a whirlwind, busy, hectic, filled with the daily demands that life throws our way. But as moments of stillness crept in, I found myself reflecting on the situation. Annoyance bubbled within me as I thought about her seemingly thoughtless actions. Who did she think she was? There was certainly a part of me that considered reaching out to this old friend, perhaps putting her in her place, but after mulling it over, I ultimately decided against it. A sense of satisfaction washed over me as I disposed of the notes, tossing them into the recycling bin, and in a bout of determination, I placed the romance novel into a donation box destined for the local library. The situation was frustrating, sure, but if she persisted in sending more unsolicited items, I figured we'd simply tell her to back off. Yet as I reflected further on her antics, an unusual sense of serenity took over. Interestingly enough, I didn't feel any real animosity towards her. While her behavior was undeniably annoying, the entire episode seemed more ludicrous than anything else. It was as if I had become part of a bizarre play, one where the lines were written in jest, a comedy of errors rather than a tragedy. As the days folded into weeks, I prepared for my spouse's return, hoping to tie up this peculiar chapter. I considered what I might say when he walked through the door, excited yet slightly apprehensive. Would he want to discuss the package further, or would he dismiss it altogether as something too silly to bother with? Only time would reveal how this odd saga would conclude. One evening, as I watered the plants and tidied up the living room, I couldn't shake the feeling of anticipation. Would there be more packages? Would a response come from his past? Just then, the door swung open, and there he stood, suitcase in hand and an endearing smile lighting up his face. "Hey there! Missed you," he exclaimed, pulling me into a tight embrace. Relief washed over me, and as we settled on the couch, I hesitated before casually mentioning the package incident once again. "So, about that package," I began, watching his expression shift to one of curiosity. As I recounted the details, the tension eased and laughter filled the room. "Can you believe it? Someone sending you books like that?" I chuckled, and soon, he joined in, shaking his head in disbelief. "What on earth is going on in her mind?" he asked, amusement dancing in his voice. By the time we hit the end of the story, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Laughing at the ridiculousness of a past that lingered in the form of postcards, we reaffirmed our bond. No matter what she sent, we faced it together, unfazed and unbothered by her whims. And so, we didn't dwell on the issue any longer. Instead, we focused on each other, reinforced by the belief that our relationship was stronger than any influence from the past. Yes, I thought to myself, bring on the next package. Together, we'd handle whatever absurdity life chose to throw our way. If my story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more. I'd love to hear your advice on the steps I should take. Keep in touch for future stories.